Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot. I am joined alongside my co-pilot, Matt O'Leary. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. I wonder what we're going to talk about. It's very quiet right now. There hasn't been any drama at all, so it might be a tough go here.
It may be a tough little go about it tonight. I don't know if we're going to have enough topics to talk about. Guys, if you're just coming in, make sure you hit that like button on the way in. We will have Ali and Green Bean with us here in just a little bit time, probably about halfway through the show or so is when they're expected to come in. Green Bean, Ali is down in Mobile, Alabama, so he's doing stuff with the Senior Bowl, so he'll be on. And then Green Bean is actually helping a little old lady with her RV. So he's doing some good deeds out there.
I wouldn't expect anything less from Green Bean, a true champion if there ever was one.
Just a great guy. Like, legitimately would give you the last shirt he owned if it was off his back.
100%. Oh, 1,000%, yes.
110%. But we got some news we could talk about. We got a little bit of news we could get into. Let's jump into something that I think is briefer, and then we'll go into some of the bigger stuff. So today we officially get word that Tom Brady ends up retiring. And I guess we kind of had the preemptive, like, oh man, he's retired, like 2 days ago when Adam Schefter released that tweet. And then we got oh wait, maybe he's coming back because now he ticked off Adam Schefter. So like he's coming back for a revenge tour. What were your thoughts on Brady retiring? What did you think of his career as a whole? Did anything change for you from beginning of his career to the end of his career? What'd you think of the GOAT?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have to preface this with as much as he annoys the hell out of me because he's beaten the Jets a billion times. Mm-hmm. He is the best that we've ever seen do it. And more than likely, I don't see anyone surpassing that. But I was surprised to see him retire after losing in the divisional round. I thought for sure that he would want to go out with the Super Bowl ring. And like, it's not like he was bad this year. He was towards the top in like every single category. So talk about just going out on top. And I think the best part of it all was like pretty much no mention of the Patriots at all in his first retirement announcement, which is kind of laugh out loud funny. But yeah, just incredible player. Killed the Jets a million times. So congrats on a great career. I am not going to miss you though.
I mean, right as you finish that sentence, Belichick comes up on the screen and gets locked on target. Oh, I love it. Yeah, look, for me, I hated Tom Brady his entire career. I think he cheated through part of his career, but it's hard for me not to call him the GOAT after every single accolade he has, especially after the 28-3 comeback against the Falcons. I thought that was just absolutely bonkers. So the guy deserves everything that he got. Glad he was able to go out on his own terms as opposed to getting, helped off the field or us seeing him like really, really deteriorate. I think as a Jet fan, I sort of wanted him to deteriorate a little bit and like kind of show that he's human. But I can appreciate the longevity of his career, the success that he had. And I will say this, I like him just a little bit more with him in Tampa. I think you got to see a little bit more of the fun side of Tom Brady for these final 2 years. Like you, I got a chuckle out of the no Patriots comments in these tweets. And I think Patriot fans are probably, getting a little upset about it. But I think in 5 years' time, they'll be just fine. And there'll be plenty of Patriot comments at his Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So overall, I want to ask you, what is your defining Brady moment in your head? Is there one Brady moment or like moment with the Jets with Brady? It may not be a good Brady moment for him, but for us, maybe it's different.
Oh, okay. There's a few. One that someone tweeted out, I think after the first time he retired on, what was that, Saturday or Sunday, whenever that news came out.
Yeah.
So it was in 2006 when the Jets went into New England and beat them on the road in the regular season, in like the rain and the slop. And the game ends on my guy, as you know, his jersey's hanging up over there, the Shaun Ellis jersey. He ends the game on a strip sack, and they literally tore up the field that week and put it in AstroTurf. That is just a legendary moment. And like, I don't know, obviously he's gotten the best of us more often than not, but in terms of like moments where we've gotten Brady a little bit, that's pretty high on the list.
Yeah, that was a nice one. I can't not say the 2010 game against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, or I guess it would have been 11.
Yeah, January of 11, I guess.
January of 11. That was probably the most memorable game I'll ever watch. I mean, I was at the Monday Night Miracle. I was a little bit younger for that one, but like watching us beat the Patriots after getting completely annihilated in the regular season, I thought was something special. And it really felt like that was going to be the year we went to the Super Bowl. And I think we had played our Super Bowl in that divisional round. I will say this, with Brady and losing that round this year, it looked like he was tired. It looked like he was exhausted. It looks like he still has plenty of football left from the stats and everything that he put up, but he just looked drained after this season. And I think there's something to be said for being able to walk away from the game as opposed to going out on an injury or going out, just flaming out. You want people to want to see you more, not wish you had left earlier, even though we had wished he left like 22 years ago.
Oh, right. But like, that's the thing. Like, even though Peyton Manning left after the Super Bowl in 2015, but I mean, he got hurt that year. And if you remember in the playoffs, he was cooked. They just went off on that defense. That's what won them that Super Bowl, which was kind of ironic because of all the monster numbers he put up in 2012, 13, and 14. But yeah, it wasn't that way. And it's very rare that you see someone go out that hot, like Calvin Johnson. That's really the only other comparable that comes to mind where it's like, okay, this player was still downright dominant when they left.
For me, the first one would have been Barry Sanders. I watched him growing up. Like I was really young. I don't know when he retired. It had to be like 96, 7, or 8, somewhere in that span. But I remember watching him just being like, wow, this guy's really good. I can't wait to keep watching him. And then retired.
Yeah.
So stemming off the little bit of Patriots news, going into something a little bit crazier, also sort of involving the Patriots. Brian Flores winding up suing the NFL for some malpractice in terms of the way they handled interviews and hirings, as well as a whole bunch of shady shit regarding the Dolphins, the Giants, the Broncos, and text messages with Bill Belichick. For those of you guys that don't know what we're talking about right now, the story broke not that long ago, probably 3-4 hours ago. And apparently Bill Belichick reached out to Coach Brian over the phone and said, congratulations on getting the Giants job or about to get the Giants job. And Flores didn't interview or wasn't supposed to interview until Thursday. So Mr. Coach Belichick wound up reaching out to who he thought was Brian Daboll, congratulating him on the job of the Giants head coach before Flores had even interviewed for the job. Matt, what are your thoughts on everything going on? You know what? Before I go into that aspect, I also want to bring up the whole Dolphins thing, because I think this is the most damning. And I think you're probably going to agree with me on this one. Is Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, offered $100,000 per loss that Flores coached the Dolphins to. That is a damning indictment on a league that just started allowing gambling in a pretty high capacity. Matt, what are your thoughts on everything going on with this lawsuit?
Yeah, there is a lot to unpack here. And the first thing that comes to mind is you just mentioned it. If those allegations are true, right, and the Dolphins owner is really offering $100,000 per loss, that's like Black Sox level of fixing. Like it just flat out is. And it's a slippery slope when you have so many sponsorships with, legalized sports betting, which, I think we could all agree on is a good thing in that it should be legalized, but it's sketchy. It really is. And then when you're trying to say, okay, we want to tank, which everyone knew they were trying to do anyway, but actually paying him money for each loss, if that's true, that just throws out the integrity of the sport. That's a huge accusation from Flores. So, like, I don't know. I almost I don't think you just make that up, something that big. Like, you can't just drop that bomb and then like a month later be like, oh, I was really just kidding. I was just upset I didn't get the Giants job. That would be just flat out insane. So, well, yes, this is all alleged. But if true, that is it's downright crazy.
It's absolute bonkers to me to think that I had always heard like, oh, the NFL is rigged. The refs are calling it this way. But to hear like a coach accuse his previous boss of offering 100 G's to throw a game, like that's insane to me. Like that's worse than anything Spygate or anything like cheating. Bad, not good. Look, filming other teams' plays, not great. Being asked by your boss, the owner, to throw games, dude, get the hell out of here. Flores is never going to coach a game in the NFL ever again. I mean, he's blackballed himself just from the lawsuit, which I think is a ball. I shouldn't say a ballsy move, but it's an admirable move because I think he knew his time in the NFL is officially over with this lawsuit.
It shouldn't have to be that way, but he's almost being like, hey, I'm trying to make it better for people after me who come after, because I mean, like, let's be honest, there is a disparity here. I don't think we could just put the blinders on and pretend that everything's okay. So he's obviously, this is something that he genuinely believes happened. And if that's the case, he has every right to go after the NFL for it. And I mean, this league has done sketchy stuff in their time. So again, if these things are true, then yeah, go out guns a-blazing. You might as well.
Yeah. Like, do you think the NFL knew about this lawsuit coming and they're like, yo, Brady, you think you can drop some news real quick? we need you one last time.
Yeah, maybe that's why he waited 2
episodes. It felt like 2 days after that tweet from Schefter came out. Felt a little early for the whole Brady thing. But yeah, no, this is serious accusations from just a purely gamesmanship standpoint, from both a hiring process and just an on the field scoring points process. Like, you as an owner offering a head coach money to lose when these guys that are on your team have an average career length of 3 years is inexcusable. And I think the fact that Flores is able to blow the whistle on this is huge. And I'm hoping he has some really, really good evidence, because nothing would make me happier than watching Ross go down and watching the Dolphins go up in flames.
Yeah, no, as they should, because like I said, if that stuff is true, they have to be severely punished, because that takes away the integrity of the game right there, which is a very dangerous thing that you want to do.
I see some people in the chat are talking about the Rooney Rule. So the Rooney Rule is a way for teams to interview minority candidates that are supposed to be outside your team, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. The Giants did interview Patrick Graham, their current defensive coordinator, and Leslie Frazier, the defensive coordinator for the Bills. So they did interview multiple people. But if you have to interview two, someone's saying you have to interview two people to make it.
Well, I think the issue that Flores was bringing up here is that he didn't even get his chance to do the interview before there was already a decision made, which I think that's the biggest issue. And yeah, I think it's one person outside the organization. I don't know if it's two. I'm pretty sure it's just one outside the organization, but
yeah, I thought it was one.
That rule was put in place to try to even the playing field a little bit. And I mean, right now it's just Mike Tomlin as the only black head coach in football. The Jets have Robert Saleh, who is a minority coach, but he's not a black coach. But it's something that the league, desperately wants to change, and they're not going to get that change until actions are taken.
Yeah, I think we'll start to. It sucks because to get quarterback coaches. I feel like a lot of quarterback coaches that I kind of see around the league tend to be guys that were quarterbacks in the league at one point, that have just kind of gone on to coaching. And I think recently, like in the last 15 years, is when you started to see a bigger influx of black quarterbacks. And I think because of that, you will see probably, I mean, you want to see it sooner, but probably within the next 10 years is probably when you'll start seeing more of these quarterback coaches start coming up, and you'll see more offensive coordinators. I think there's going to be, a little bit of a lag time. I don't know when they brought in the Rooney Rule, but it always seems to be a hot topic of conversation every time the coaching carousel comes up. And, I guess numbers wise, I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2000 or right around then. But in the report, Flores quote, he had a bunch of statistics of like the percentage of head coaches, offensive coordinators, special teams, defensive coordinators, all that stuff. So, he came with the numbers. So, like we've been saying, it's something that the NFL is trying to change, and it's going to take some time. It's probably taken a little bit too long.
Pat Dunn drops in the super chat. Thanks, Pat. Says, proud to be a Jets fan today. First Muslim head coach, let Miami and New York Giants rot away. I have no problem with letting them rot. Obviously, I don't want to see them rot for that specific reason, but I would love to see them rot for trying to rig games. That doesn't make me feel good, but definitely, I like seeing bad things happen to teams I don't like. We'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right?
That's exactly it. That's a good way to go about it. Guys, if you're just dropping in, make sure you hit that like button on the way in. We're going to be talking some Senior Bowl with Green Bean and Ali in just a little bit. They'll be hopping on in about half-hour time or so. Matt, I want to talk to you a little bit and see if your thoughts have changed at all regarding our number 4 and our number 10 pick and who you would want to draft based on things you've heard or maybe things you've watched or anything like that. Have your thoughts about this offseason changed?
Not a whole lot. One thing that I do think is a little bit interesting, and it kind of ties into some of the conversations that came out today down in Mobile with the Jets and Mekhi Becton and George Fant, is it seems like the likelihood of the Jets going offensive line at 4 seems pretty high, which I'm okay with. But I think there's like this narrative that if the Jets draft a tackle, that means they don't believe in Mekhi Becton, which I don't necessarily think that there's a correlation. I think it sets you up in case Mekhi Becton doesn't work out. But both Evan Neal and 𝐒𝐿 𝐞𝐚 can play guard or tackle. So to me, like the whole mindset, at least from my perspective, I think should be if you're taking one of those two guys, you play them at guard your first year. And like, I'm cool with having the left tackle, competition, in whichever one comes out of camp better. Okay, great. You play left tackle. And if it's Mekhi going to the right side, fine. If it's George Fant going to the right side, fine. But then you have that insurance policy where if Fant leaves in free agency after next year, Mekhi Becton's healthy. Okay, great. Then you have your two tackles with, let's just use Evan Neal as the example, with Neal and Becton. Or if Mekhi Becton gets hurt again and you're like, okay, this is clearly an issue, then you can move forward with Fant and Neal and be set. So it's almost like it's helping you both in the now and the future. I feel like it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, 100%. The whole offensive line thing is interesting, and Joe and I talked a little bit about it yesterday. But the idea that you could take an offensive lineman so high after investing such a high pick in Mekhi Becton and AVT just last year is definitely frustrating. But I think you said it best. I think there's the thought of going O-line at 4 does not necessarily take away from Mekhi Becton being the long-term left tackle on our team. I think what it does is it sets you up for a really interesting situation. I shouldn't say it's an interesting situation, but it protects you and gives you insurance for the whole Mekhi Becton situation, because after the 2022 campaign, you're going to have George Fant up for a contract, Connor McGovern up for a contract, and you're going to have Mekhi Becton up for his 5th-year option, because you have to decide on that before his 4th year. So you have to make a lot of decisions next offseason after the year. So if you can bring in a guy like 𝐒𝐿 or Neal, and then you allow Becton and Fant to duke it out, because I think best guy plays at the tackle positions, like you said. I think that makes a lot of sense. By the time you get to camp and you have everything ironed out, you have the flexibility to be patient with Mekhi. Like, say you wanted to, hey, Fant, we're going to bring you back on a 1-year deal after this year or a 2-year deal after this year. And you know what, Mekhi, maybe we don't exercise your option and we decide to roll into year 4 without the 5th-year option. And then maybe we decide to possibly tag him as a extra option, but it gives you some flexibility on a whole bunch of things you want to do while giving you the ability to still utilize your draft assets where you wanted to use them initially.
Right. Exactly. It's like, I guess insurance policy is probably the best way to put it, because you're not making a definitive answer yet, which is fine. I don't think you have to. I think you're trying to, and again, like, you just drafted Zach Wilson with the 2nd pick. That's the highest investment that hopefully Joe Douglas will ever have to make. Actually, I could definitively say that, because if the Jets are picking second, that means he's out of a job.
Yeah, he's tossed.
And that means that Zach Wilson isn't the guy, if that's the case. So you have to do, and Douglas has to do everything in his power to make sure that Zach looks like the guy for next year and beyond. So, like, is it really such a bad thing for investing early and trying to make sure that your young quarterback is set up for long-term success? Like, I don't know, after the quarterback we've watched our entire lives, like, it seems like a smart thing to do. No,
I would tend to agree. I'm definitely with you on that. Support the quarterback. You need all the help you can get, because otherwise, if he doesn't pan out, no one pans out in this organization. Kevin Delaney says trade Mike White to the Bucs. He is a exclusive rights free agent, so we do have to tag him if we want. I believe the original round tender is 2. I believe the second round tender is like 4. I think they updated the numbers for that. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to trading him, honestly. I mean, White is not someone that I want to get rid of, but from the postseason presser with Saleh, he seems like they like Flacco as the backup, and like, I don't know if maybe there's a little concern of White maybe playing well and disrupting the apple cart. I don't know. I would trade White. If you get an opportunity to trade White for a third or better, I think you do it.
Oh, hell yeah. I would be dancing for joy if they got a third round pick back from Mike White. I think he proved that he's capable of coming in and being okay, but I don't think he's anything more than, a backup / spot starter. If you can keep him on the roster, fantastic. If someone wants to give up a third round pick or something like that, like, I don't know, the Buccaneers need a quarterback. The Packers could need a quarterback. You go right down the line, then sure. Then you just retain Joe Flacco or whatever, and then you're good to go.
𝐿'𝐿�0𝐫𝐞𝐚𝐫𝐲 drops in with Super Chat, says, thoughts on my mock draft. Assuming Kayvon Thibodeaux is gone at 4, he wants 𝐒𝐿𝐽𝐿 at 4, Garrett Wilson at 10, that's his number 1 wide receiver, Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher from FSU, at 35, Trey McBride, 38, Chad Muma at 69, the linebacker out of Illinois? Minnesota? It's a red team.
Yeah.
I think it's red and yellow. I'm going to call it Minnesota. It's Minnesota or Iowa, I think.
I'm going to look it up now because it's going to kill me.
I think it's Iowa State. Indiana?
No, Wyoming. We were way off.
I'm like going through. I was like, God, it's like white and yellow and red, and I can't figure it out. Whatever. Okay, so Alex, I love this mock. I don't love Garrett Wilson personally. As far as wide receivers go, I kind of wanted to go a different route as far as like size. Like Burks kind of gives me the Deebo Samuel feel, while Drake London gives me like the massive Mike Evans kind of feel. Garrett Wilson, I do think would fit this offense. He seems super crisp and sticky hands. So I wouldn't hate that. And I like Jermaine Johnson at edge rush. Ideally, I think that's where we wind up going. I think we go edge rush either at 10 or 35. Just because, and I don't know if you saw this, Matt. Did you see Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 and how of the top 25 prospects in this draft, he had 7 edge rushers in the top 25. Was very surprised.
Yeah, that is surprising. I do like Jermaine Johnson a lot, though, and he's someone he's at the Senior Bowl and supposedly looked good today. I'm sure we could maybe get a little bit more info from our guy Ali. But I like this draft a lot. 𝐒𝐿𝐽, I mean, we talked about earlier, I think he's a versatile player. If Neal's gone, then he's the next best offensive lineman there. I prefer Treylon Burks, but I'm not anti-Garrett Wilson. I think he's a really good separator and has good speed, which would be exciting. McBride is just, you see the fit. That's an obvious one. And Muma he plays good. I feel like he's someone who could come in and start right away. And you could probably grab him in the 3rd round, which I think is really good value.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Muma's on our Senior Bowl team. I'm pretty positive he is. So we get to run him through the gauntlet this week as well. So yeah, love it, Alex. Absolutely love it. Big Joe dropping in with Super Chat. Big Joe says, will you guys be watching USFL this coming spring? I'm definitely down for it. I didn't realize this was coming out. I thought the XFL was first. But I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm totally down to start watching it. Do we know when like games are going to be? Do you know anything about this, Matt?
I have no idea. I didn't watch the AFF and I don't know what's the XFL. I did not watch.
You didn't watch any of that?
No, not a single snap.
Come on. Okay. Inaugural season 2022 USFL April 16th. So it looks like they got what are their team names? Let's see. They've got yes, continue, accept. Just show me the names. Show me the names of the teams. The Generals, the Stallions, the Gamblers, the Breakers, the Bandits, the Stars, the Michigan Panthers. We're the New Jersey Generals. We're the New Jersey Generals. Come on. Or I shouldn't say we. I guess I am. I'm Jersey.
I'm not from Jersey. I'm a gambler though, so maybe that could be my team.
You could be the Houston Gamblers, right?
Oh, they're from Houston? I love Houston.
Yes. Yeah, so we got the Michigan Panthers, the New Jersey Generals, the Philadelphia Stars, the Pittsburgh Maulers, the Birmingham Stallions, I think, Houston Gamblers, New Orleans Breakers, and the Tampa Bay Bandits. Interesting stuff. Yeah, you know what? I want to watch it. Ooh, I got to talk to Green Bean too, because me and Green Bean have been talked about this. So, chat, we're gonna let you in on a little inside thing that we're kind of planning on here, and let us know in the chat if this is something you'd be interested in, because we haven't worked out all the bugs yet, but we're thinking about doing a Talkin Jets golf outing. Myself, O'Leary, and Green Bean hanging out with all you guys. Gonna have some details on that, but if you guys are interested in doing like a Talkin Jets golf outing, it would be the Monday before the NFL draft. So it would be what would that be? The 25th? I think it's the 25th.
Yes.
That would be the date that we're kind of looking at. So the idea is we get a whole bunch of fans together, get to hang out, play some golf, and do some Talkin Jets. Answer some questions, talk some draft stuff. So yeah, Lewis says, "Hell yeah, I suck at golf." That's all right. We all stink at golf. I stink at golf. I shouldn't talk for everyone, but I'm not very good. All right, sorry. I saw Edward come in with a super chat. Where did Edwards go? Edward says, "𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻, Linderbaum, McBride, then defense." Oh, Edward. That is a beefy offensive line, and I love it. But I won't go Linderbaum if we go 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻.
Yeah, I don't think you can go two. If you asked me this question in early October, I'd probably have been like, oh yeah, let's go for it. But I think a lot's changed since then. So I think I'm out on that. And I love Linderbaum as a prospect. I don't see it. 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻, yes. McBride, yes. But I think he would be wide receiver at 10.
Thomas Cahill, welcome to the Jets Talk 24/7 family, brother. Boys and girls, drop some JETS in the chat for our newest buddy, Thomas. Make sure you drop some love in there. 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻, Linderbaum, McBride. Yeah, look, I'm on board anytime we get McBride in the second round. And I'm high on 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻 for sure. I really like Linderbaum. He's an exciting player. If you get Thibodeaux at 4 and Linderbaum is there at 10 and you don't have trade down offers, I would be open to the idea of taking him there. But even then, I don't know. I would have a hard time pulling the trigger on Linderbaum, I think. Not because I don't like him. I do like him. Who else we got in here? We got... Just saw it. Jack Filipowski drops in with a super chat. Jack says, "Where does Jimmy G land? Has one more year on his contract. I think teams like the Steelers or Saints wait a year, as next year is a quarterback heavy draft." I think Jimmy G is going to get cut after this season ends, because he's got a pretty hefty contract, and they could save a bunch of cap dollars. And I think they are inevitably going to want Trey Lance to start at some point. It's that fine line of do you let Jimmy G play out that final year, or do you just cut bait now and allow Trey Lance to kind of make his mistakes this year in year 2? Matt, what are your thoughts on Jimmy G?
You can't run it back with Jimmy G. You played that game this year. You can't do it another year. He is what he is. He's like an okay starter, limited, prone to making a big mistake. Is, I don't know, in the 20 to 30th best starting quarterback range. He could come in and be like a bridge guy, maybe for like, I don't know, maybe a team like Pittsburgh takes a flyer or the Saints or someone like that. But I don't see him as a long-term answer. To me, he's a stopgap guy until you find your long-term answer. And I think that's why the Saints, not the Saints, the 49ers traded up to number 3 in order to draft Trey Lance. It was because they see Jimmy every day and they know this.
Yeah, I think Jimmy winds up somewhere. It's weird. Like I saw someone in the chat say Jimmy G to the Bucks. Luis Sanchez said that. That's not a crazy spot. Depending on how much dead cap hit Brady's retiring has on the Bucks, I think it's plausible. Maybe. I think the Steelers, if I were them, I would let Haskins and like Mariota go at it. I think that would be a fun quarterback competition between the two of them. If both of them or one of them wins the job and they flame out and they do bad, then they'll have a high draft pick to take their quarterback next year. Jimmy G for me, I think he falls in that kind of like almost a Teddy Bridgewater kind of category. Like him, solid bridge guy, good teammate, can get the job done, but definitely needs a surrounding cast of characters to kind of elevate it. And that's kind of what we've seen from the 49ers. Because Jimmy G's been to the Super Bowl twice now with them? Is that, or once plus the championship?
Yeah, I agree with your analysis there. Tyrod Taylor, Jared Goff, all those guys I kind of loop into that same category.
Yeah.
They're a low ceiling player. Their floor isn't awful, but they're not going to move the needle forward enough.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why they went up to get Trey Lance. Makes perfect sense. Sneakers to boots. I know you're coming to the golf outing when we do it.
Love it.
Sure. Because I met you. Sneakers to boots. Thank you for the super chat. Says, how you feeling if JD traded down 4th and 10th pick? I don't like that. No. I would prefer at this point right now, with the knowledge I have of where I think people might go, I would sit pat at 4 and I would trade down from 10. And that's because I think Thibodeaux is going to be there at 4. I really do. I have a hunch he's going to fall. If he's not, I'm all for taking 𝐒𝐿. If like Hutch, Thibodeaux, and 𝐒𝐿 are gone, I'm probably in the boat of taking Neal. Maybe not as sold one way or the other on him, but I definitely would go with one of those top 4 linemen, I think, at 4. And then at 10, just because Washington seems like the first place that a lot of people are considering quarterback, especially if Denver trades for Aaron Rodgers. Now that removes the 9th pick from the equation because they have Jordan Love. They're not going to be taking a quarterback. I would trade out of 10 and land somewhere in the mid-teens probably, see if I could get a first next year or an additional 2nd or 3rd this year. Matt, what are your thoughts on trading down?
Not with both. I would say if you're going to trade down, 10 probably makes the most sense to move back from, and you're not moving back very far, maybe like 5 picks or so.
Yeah.
I just don't see them trading out of the top 4 because a very good player is going to be there. Whether, even if it's Thibodeaux, Hutchinson, and Neal are the first 3 off the board, then you could still grab 𝐒𝐿, and that's the plan we were just talking about at the beginning of this show. But at 10, then you can move back and get yourself some futures if you wanted to. And I mean, there's still going to be some damn good players. I like this isn't a very good quarterback class, but there are, a lot of good players, I think, in the top 50 of this draft class.
Yeah, I saw a few people talking about Malik Willis, thinking he might be the first quarterback off the board after seeing Kenny Pickett get mocked first a bunch of times. That's Malik Willis is the Liberty quarterback. That would be I know we've taken bigger gambles on smaller school quarterbacks, but Liberty is that is the smallest of schools. I don't know what their enrollment is, but it can't be very high.
I feel like he has some accuracy issues for me. Now, Kenny Pickett, Have you seen the whole thing with his hand size that he won't get measured?
Oh,
And
really? I didn't see that. I know is it the 9¼ inch or 9½ inch is where you want to be above that?
yeah, he's like he would be in the 0 percentile right now, based on what a scout measured him at previously. So
Fun note: Liberty has almost 48,000 undergrads, so I'm wrong. Bigger school than I thought.
Yeah, not a big football program though, comparatively. But Pickett has that. I think if you're to make a case for anyone, I think Matt Corral would make more sense to go ahead of Kenny Pickett, but I don't know. Even maybe Sam Howell might go before I just blanked on his name. We're just talking
Malik
about
Willis.
Malik Willis. Yes, Sam Howell might go in the late first, but I see Willis as a second rounder. I don't think he is a top 15 pick.
Yeah, that would surprise me. But I guess we've seen quarterbacks rise. So if this guy winds up acing it, like if he has like 10.5-inch hands and like, runs a crazy fast 40, then, if he kills it in all the quarterback drills and interviews, who knows? He could fly up draft boards. And that's what we want. We want to see quarterbacks rising up draft boards. So that means better players fall down to us. So this is a good thing. Let's see. John Perez drops in with a super chat, says some coaches on the staff are not coming back, ? I don't know. Matt, have you heard anything on some coaches not coming back on the staff?
Yeah, there was one.
Coaches probably.
Oh my God, I'm blanking on who it was now. Was it Kavanaugh?
Oh, no, it was was it Kavanaugh? It was the offensive assistant or whatever, the guy that took the place for Knapp.
Yeah.
Was Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he's gone. I shouldn't say he's gone, but he's no longer with us. Like, I don't think his job was more than a year long anyway. It seemed like his was pretty quick. Let's see. Thomas Cahill drops in with another super chat, says it's gonna fall. It's gonna fall that we get a big words are hard tonight. It's gonna fall that we get a big edge tonight, isn't it? I hope so. I keep seeing mock drafts now where one of the offensive linemen go, or both edge rushers and like Hamilton go. Like I saw one the other day that had Hamilton and the two edges gone. And then like we had our pick of like everyone else after that. And that's like, I don't know. Do you think Hamilton or I don't know where I'm going with this. I think Jags go O-line at 1. And then I think 3 is the biggest question mark for me. I don't know what happens at that third pick.
Yeah, it's there's a chance that they could go Hamilton there at 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a world where one of them is available. I think for whatever reason, Thibodeaux seems to be the popular one who's fallen a little bit. I even saw a mock where he went 5th to the Giants, which
that was PFF, I think.
Yeah, and they had
𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐞,
which I wouldn't do, but like at the same time, it's hard for me to get mad at a 𝐒𝐮𝐞 pick in that spot too.
That's just it. When I did my video on that, I was like, you know what? This is not the way I'd go about it. Like, I think I'd be running up to the podium to select Thibodeaux. But like, I really like 𝐒𝐮𝐞. I would say 𝐒𝐮𝐞. I might rank it like Thibodeaux, 𝐒𝐮𝐞, Hutchinson, Neal. Like that might be my order of guys. Like maybe not. I mean, I like Hutchinson too. I really want edge. But man, 𝐒𝐮𝐞 is like an angry blocker. Like he'll plant someone 6 feet deep.
Yeah, he plays like the Joe Douglas style of offensive line, which is very, very enticing. And again, I would not be mad at it. The only one, like if it's like Derek Stingley over or, Thibodeaux or Hutchinson, then you have a real issue there. But I don't see that being the case based on everything we've seen from Douglas so far and Saleh and Ulbrich in their conversations.
Boogie Down Bronx, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, hey guys, is it possible that Kayvon could be a bust? He has a small frame to play defensive end in the NFL. He's more like a 3-4 linebacker. What do you guys think? So let me just pull up his weight real quick. Thibodeaux. All right. He is 6'5", 258 pounds. I don't know what you're talking about. He's the perfect size for a D end. All of the D ends, I believe, in San Francisco under Saleh were all 250 plus. so this does fall within range of him. He put it this way: when you are the number 1 overall recruit heading into college and you back that up by being considered a pretty much consensus top 5 pick, if not top 2 pick or top 3 pick, you did your job right. And I know there's going to be some issues and some people that might maybe think a different way about Kayvon Thibodeaux, maybe after the Alabama comments, or, maybe the lack of overwhelming production this year. But I think his profile is sound, and I would absolutely take him at 4 if he were available. Could he bust? I would say he probably has I think he has a higher ceiling and a lower floor than Hutch. I think Hutch has a very high ceiling and a very high floor. I don't know if that's how you feel about it, Matt. What do you think about Kayvon, and do you think he could be a bust?
It's possible. I mean, we see guys bust all the time. It's the nature of the business. It's not impossible. I think he has the traits that make me believe that he's going to be a very good player in this league. The same with 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐵𝐷𝐼𝐻 Hutchinson. I think, those are 2 very, very good edge rushers that you could potentially grab here at the top of the draft. But is there any definitive things in the NFL draft? I mean, it's
can't, right?
No,
everything's a crapshoot.
Right. So to answer Boogie Down Bronx, which by the way is a really cool username, by the way, I just don't. I don't think that's unfair to say. It's certainly possible.
Richard Delgado, aka Dick, says, thanks for the super chat, brother. He says, just a general question: what is the ceiling on Zach Wilson? He supposedly has a high ceiling, but I think he has a high floor too. I would say if this season has given us anything, it would probably prepare us for a very low floor for Zach Wilson, but also an incredibly high ceiling. I saw some very nice highs, not the consistency of highs that I want to see out of the number 2 overall pick, but I'm encouraged enough to be excited about him going forward. I saw a graph, and I wish I saved it. I don't know. I'll have to look for it. But it basically showed the arm strength and everything of all the quarterbacks in the league, and it listed all 32. And based on like what color they were, whether it be green or red, green would be better and like towards the top through a whole bunch of different metrics, and like red would be towards the bottom. And like the top 5 quarterbacks, I would say it looked from the eye test, looking at this graph, made sense. It was like, okay, good quarterbacks at the top, bad quarterbacks at the bottom, middle quarterbacks in the middle. And Zach Wilson was 4th. So like this dude's got the metrics and the attributes to be elite. He's just got to do it. That's the thing. So I think his ceiling's astronomical. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so the player comp that I've really started to fall in love with for Zach Wilson, I think makes a lot of sense, is Matthew Stafford. And there was
interesting.
Yeah, and there was a throw, the big throw to Cooper Kupp. That he turned up on one of the final drives for them to take the lead.
Yeah.
It was, I forget, someone on Twitter sent it to me. I forget who it was, but it was almost the identical throw that Zach Wilson made on the 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐞 touchdown slant in Buffalo in week 18. I think they are similar size wise. They have the ability to throw on the run. They have the insane arm strength, and sometimes they get caught trying to do a little bit too much. So I think that's probably your best bet. I didn't like the Derek Carr player comp. I didn't really see that one, but I think Matthew Stafford is probably where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that probably sets a different expectation too. I mean, maybe right now it seems a little aggressive because the guy's going to play for a Super Bowl, but I think by and large, a guy that has all the physical attributes, needs a little bit of help around him, and hopefully we could have the arm. If we could have the career from Matthew Stafford for Zach Wilson, I would 100% do that. Now, obviously, I want to see a few more playoff wins before year 12 or whatever Stafford's in right now, but I like it all the same. Matt, who are you rooting for in the Super Bowl? I like the underdog of the Bengals, but I think I would like to see Donald and Stafford get a ring. I think Donald's been the best defensive player we've seen in this league since maybe LT.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know who else would you even put in that conversation? I don't know if there is one. Reggie White, I think, was right around the time of LT. I don't know. The guy's been incredible. Defensive Rookie of the Year, like 8 all-pros or whatever the hell he's got. It's like every single year he's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, he is really unbelievable. So when the line initially came out with the Bengals getting 4 points, which I liked. So I bet that. I took the Bengals +4 because I think it's going to be a close game. And I say, if the Bengals are going to win it, then, so be it. I'm on that side. And then even, if the Rams win, I think it'll be a 3-point game. I don't care either way. And I really don't have a definitive answer for who I think is actually going to win the game outright. I love Matthew Stafford. Stafford, I made a habit of like Stafford, Rivers, and Romo. I will fight to the death for those 3.
I love that you named all those guys. I would say Stafford would have been the 3rd on my list, but I love Romo and Rivers.
Right. But I think they get way unnecessary hate because they never won. So like I go to bat for those guys because I think they're criminally underrated. So that would be cool from that perspective. I like Sean McVay. I think he's a good coach. And I mean, the team is good. They deserve it. But I also love the Joe Burrow story. The Bengals are just a fun team. They're incredibly fun to watch. So if either team wins, I don't care. I just want to win my bets.
Yeah, I just want to have like a good game. I don't want like some stinker of a game. We've been lucky the last few weeks of football that it has just been absolutely awesome games week in and week out. Eddie DeJesus drops in a super chat, says, Ryan's famous last words, hold my beer, watch this. I've got plenty of things I could say hold my beer. I could say random, ridiculous stuff. I could drop some knowledge on you. I can look at my bagel in the background and see that she's... See, how many of you were playing highlights with the back of this video and actually saw there was a dog laying there? And for those of you that don't know what highlights is, I'm dating myself right now. Do you know what highlights is, Matt?
No. What's highlights?
Oh, I'm too old. Damn it. Okay, so there used to be this magazine that you'd take, or not that you take, but you get. I used to see it at the dentist office all the time. It would be in like the schools, and it was called Highlights. It was a little magazine, and there would be this like find all the items on the page, and I would like try to find it. It'd be like, okay, here's a fork somewhere hidden in this picture. Try to find the fork, or try to find the boomerang, or whatever you're trying to find. 10 items, and that's what that was. That was Bali's hiding over there, and unfortunately, I'm too old. She blends in, and unfortunately, I'm too old to talk about highlights. Ugh. I guess it's bad to talk about highlights on a football channel that's not talking about video highlights, right? That makes sense.
I guess so. That sounds familiar. Like I remember reading this book where it was like find certain things, but I just Googled highlights.
That was I Spy. I know which one. That's a great book. Or maybe it wasn't I Spy, but there was a few books where they had like pictures of things all over the place. I see in the chat, who was it? Who said I saw that? Look at Greg Ganji. Gagne. Highlights was a staple in every pediatrician's waiting room.
The I Spy is what I remember. Dude, this picture just brought up like a core memory I forgot that I had.
Oh my God, dude, I love the I Spy books. I'd sit in the library with like 3 buddies at like 8 years old or whatever. We'd be sitting there like, yo, check it out. We got to find 3 shadows of pennies. Like, where is it? Like, you look at all, I'm going to find it first. No, I'll find it first. Absolutely love it. 441 people in here. Boys and girls, drop a like on this video on your way in. Ooh, and you know what? For every 25 likes, we're going to pick a qualifier for a t-shirt giveaway, which I forgot to do at the beginning of the show. So make sure you hit that like button. Let's get some qualifiers in here. I'll let Nightbot do some picking. And Matt, you know what they say about picking. You can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose.
That's true. So I hear.
Oh, geez. Ant Jet says highlights best feature was the object search in the pictures. Yes, thank you. I don't even remember any of the other things that it had. I only remember that one find the stuff. Kev Cha Chata says you still got a VHS recorder. I do not. I don't. But I was offered some VHSs and I laughed and said no. Recently. Do you have one, Matt?
I think I have one in here. Give me a second.
What? Get out of here. What's the last VHS you would have watched? That's going to be the next question for him because he probably can't hear me. Victor Alvarez says there's 420 people in here. Victor, I see what you're doing with those shades. Make me smile.
No.
Rusty Spooner and Jason Reeves, you guys have been qualified.
So when I cleaned out my room not too long ago, I found this is really old school. So remember how when before DVR you had to like set the TV to record to a VCR tape? I had
Yeah. It doesn't feel that old. Come on.
It's like it's probably more than 20 years old at this point.
Well, it's got to be, right? Because I bet we got a DVD player right around the PlayStation 2, which would have been around 2000. So I would bet. Oh man, VHS. I guess we used VHS probably straight through till probably 2001 or so. I didn't get a PS2 till like 2002, I think.
Yeah, my girlfriend just texted me, which is what I was gonna say right here. She said, "You do have a VHS in your room. We dusted it when we cleaned. It's rocket.
What's your go-to VHS? What are you throwing in the machine that's still sitting in your house?
It's a Rocket Power episode.
Ooh,
I gotta. Oh, I have no idea. I haven't watched.
That's not good.
In 20
I want to know.
Hopefully the Tony Hawk episode. I feel like that was an iconic one.
The Tony Hawk one's good. Was that the McTwist or whatever they were trying to do with the zillion spins and the tennis ball hits them?
That was a good episode too, but I feel like they stumble upon like it's the one where they have like the neon boards.
Woogity woogity.
Yeah, I don't know where it is, but there is definitely one in here somewhere.
Interesting. All right, so we got Jason Reeves. Motivated. Sorry, can't do two things at once. Okay, we got Jason Reeves, Rusty Spooner, Sergeant Mike, Motivated T as our qualifiers for our t-shirt giveaway. We're going to have Nightbot select 2 more qualifiers, and we will have Green Bean and Ali joining us shortly, hopefully in the next 10 minutes or so. I'm going to check my phone just to make sure I haven't missed anything. Matt, are you gone at 9 o'clock today too?
Yes, I might be able to hang out until they get in, so I don't have to leave you solo. But because right now we're still in this, I have the game on behind me. We're still in the second period, so I have really until the start of the third, roughly, before I have to start writing.
Okay. All right. So Kev with that great comment before. He's qualified as well. If you guys want to get qualified for our t-shirt giveaway and you're watching the stream after the fact, just leave a comment on this video afterwards, and then we go back and we pick some names from the previous week to get qualified for this week. Let's see our last winner. Oh, we got Motivated T again. So let's pick another one. Last qualifier, or not last qualifier. Last one for right now. All right. While I do this, Matt Jean-Jacques Saucy, thank you for the super chat. Says Zach is the man. Look at the difference. A different team made for Stafford. We would be going wards, abandoning Zach now.
I think backwards.
Backwards. It's a Canadian thing. Upside down. Got it. Going backwards, abandoning Zach now. Go Jets. Love you guys. Thanks, John. Jean-Jacques Saucy. It's like the greatest name ever. And Marist Old Boys. Sorry. Marist Old Boys. You are qualified as well.
Woohoo.
Boys for our t-shirt giveaway. All right. So Zach's the man. Look at the difference team. So I am excited for the growth of Zach Wilson. I don't think he needs a different team. We don't have to surround. Oh, well, look, we have to surround him with more talent, obviously. We were the youngest team in the NFL by a wide margin. But I think the excitement for Zach Wilson and the excitement for the draft picks we have and everything that's going on for the New York Jets, I think is really exciting. I think it primes us for a really good launch for the rest of Zach's career, potentially. What are your thoughts on, well, obviously the comparison to Stafford, but what do you think about Stafford going to a different team? Does it make you think differently of him and his whole situation?
For me, no. I always thought Stafford was good. I just thought he was in a really garbage situation, which is, kind of the point I brought up with both Rivers and Romo. I think a lot of external factors played in there, whether it be just the front office being terrible, bad coaching and stuff like that. For Zach, like, just to bring this back to John's question here, I think we have to, just continue to build this thing with Zach, and he will continue to develop. Unless, he has a Darnold fall off a cliff in year 3, I don't see this going badly. I think that we saw strides in year 1, and we just have to see him take a bigger step in year 2 and continue to get better.
Yeah, you just got to hope that you see continued growth. That's all you need. Kevin Chada's on a run here of comments. He goes, imagine the porn quality on Betamax. We were talking about VHS and everything. Yo, so this is really funny. And I learned this through Tropic Thunder, and I didn't do any research, so I'm just going to pretend it's true. But did you know that when HD DVR or HD DVDs and Blu-ray were a thing, the reason the world went with Blu-ray is because the porn industry backed Blu-ray. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That's why. And I think that's why we got VHS as well. I'm pretty sure when porn winds up backing one of the technologies, because there's usually two that come out at the same time, you wind up going with whatever the large base of people are going to use right now. So I guess right now you're probably talking about Cloud Hub or something crazy with them.
Yeah. Pre-internet days must have been very tough with that.
Have you ever watched the movie Middlemen?
Middlemen.
Ooh, I highly recommend anyone in the chat who has not watched Middlemen. Absolutely great movie. It is a movie about the I would say the creation of like PayPal almost, but it's kind of like the creation of internet porn. And this sounds really weird. Me just ranting about internet porn right now. But they make a movie about this guy that creates the code to accept a transaction with a credit card over the internet in the mid 90s, right when the internet started getting big. And it goes into it. It's like mobsters and guns and drugs and like girls and like all this stuff. It's more of like I don't want to call it a B-rate movie, but it's like not a headlining kind of movie, but a good watch nonetheless. I think no one probably has seen this movie because everyone else is just leaving me hanging.
No,
I get it. Whatever. Guys are jerks. Aunt Jet says, I watched Grandma's Boy the other day. That's a great movie. And then I'm assuming Jet X Factor is probably Joe. He says, Ryan back in New Jersey. Yeah, I had to do a show yesterday with Joe live from the parents' kitchen in Florida. Someone thought I was in a bathroom because I had this board and batten wall behind me. And I was like kind of sitting like square on the wall. And I'm like, I guess I should have angled it more. So I don't look like I'm sitting on the toilet right now.
Yeah, just sitting on the toilet. No big deal.
Whatever. It's okay. You guys can judge me all you want. Rich Ritter goes, now you have porn in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, literally.
Banana logo. Real talk for a second. When I was a kid, when I got a PSP, let me tell you, it was the greatest day on earth. When I figured out that thing hooked up to the internet, woo! I'll tell you what. Oh, God, sorry. Boy. This is Jets Talk. Ryan should not have another beer. All right. Richard Delgado, a.k.a. Dick Delgado, says, I don't think it's weird to talk about porn because Jets fans like to watch the Jets get railed every week.
Richard Delgado is also a great porn name, too, by the way.
It really is. It'd be like double D's because you could be Dick Delgado.
Dickie D.
Dickie D. Dickie Delgado. See, look at you. We already got your porn name. It's fantastic.
Do you think that's his actual name?
No, I don't know anyone's actual name. I see Joe Douglas in here all the time and Adam Gase. And I'm pretty sure it's not either one of them.
Adam Gase has a lot of time on his hands. It could be him.
That's true. If we wind up seeing one that's like Wyatt something, it's probably him. It's Mother Trucker. What else we got here? Sorry. Going all over the place. Pat Dunn drops in a super chat. Pat Dunn, thank you, says, who are you guys looking forward to watching in the Senior Bowl? While we are starting to talk about Senior Bowl, I know someone that might want to hop in. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to jump in the stream, my friend. Ali, hello. Thumbs up. Oh, he's gone. He was in the waiting room. He's right there. So he's coming right around the corner. Okay. So who are you guys looking forward to watching in the Senior Bowl? I will say I'm going to go away from the tight ends. I'm very excited from what I heard about Zion Johnson. He is the guard from Boston College, and apparently he stayed late after today's practice. Stayed late after today's practice to talk about or to snap the ball because he doesn't get many center reps. So he waited for the American team to come out onto the field and snap the ball to their quarterbacks because the national team, which is the Jets team, had already gone in. So he's someone that I'm keeping my eye on. I think this guy is an interesting, versatile piece. If we decide not to go like that guard tackle hybrid, maybe we have more of a faith in Becton and Fant, and we decide to go, maybe with the edge rusher or whatever at 4. You go with maybe a linebacker or receiver at 10, and then if you wanted to go with Zion Johnson in the second round with the Trey McBride Wombo combo, I'm all about that. Matt, who are you looking at for the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, I'm gonna avoid the tight ends too because that's the obvious answer. So I'm gonna go Jermaine Johnson. I think he is someone who very well could be a riser in this draft, and I know a lot of people have him mocked to the Jets at 35, but there's a very good chance that he ends up going in the first round. I think I like him a lot.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear Ali's take on this because I'm sure he'll be hopping in. Let me just check the old phone. I know he was starting to hop in. Just going to tell him saw him for a second. He's probably watching this, I would think. But he's also trying to figure out his whole setup because he's in a hotel room right now. Yeah, so, patience, boys and girls. We will get our boy Ali in here in just a little bit. Kevin Delaney says, I thought the PSP buttons hung up a bit. For those of you that don't know, Kevin's my brother. And he's claiming that my PSP may have been sticky. So there's that. See, this is Ryan is PSP 24/7. Ryan got a little sauce tonight. Oh, geez. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of
first time. It's all right.
Dead shots. Dead shots X25. Came here for the Jets, stayed for the porn. Oh, geez. This isn't good. Billy McLean says he wants to hear Green Bean's take on porn.
Oh, now I want to stay.
Matt's got to hang on. All right, we're bringing in Ali from Loyal NY Jet Fans. Ali, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Oh, hanging in there. Talk to us a little bit. Matt's got to go in a few seconds. Do we got you for a few more minutes, Matt?
Yeah, I want to hear like a minute or two of Ali, and then I'll pop out.
All right. Do you want to ask any questions to Ali prior?
First question. Tell me everything.
All right. Just a quick rundown because you got to go. For me, for the tight end position, because I think that's the storyline for all Jet fans right now. All of them looked absolutely great. They looked in Trey McBride looked great. He made nice catches. Jeremy Ruckert was all over the field, making nice catches as well. Very smooth route running. Jake Ferguson was also making plays. So all 3 tight ends that are listed for the Jets that they will be interested in were thriving today. They were all catching passes. One thing I actually liked about what Robert Saleh, their coaching staff, was doing for the offensive linemen, a lot of players were playing different positions. Zion Johnson, he's more of a right guard, left guard type deal. Today he played center, and he played really well playing center. Andrew Stewart, an offensive lineman, he also played guard, I believe, and he excelled at it. So there was a lot of switches on the offensive line, and I feel like the coaching staff were finding different ways to make them better, and it was actually working. So I think they're going to continue that probably for the next 2 practices and then probably the Senior Bowl. And then the wideouts. Obviously, Dotson is not opted out, which was unfortunate because I actually was looking forward to seeing him on the field. There's a lot of other guys that stepped up, man. Christian Watson, he was all over the field too. He was catching passes the entire day. Khalil Shakir was also, I think he's a spotlight right now with Dotson out. Valles Jones Jr. Also, he's on the Lions staff, the Lions roster, not the Jets. He was great in route running. He had a really nice catch on the sidelines. His route was perfect. He got behind the defender and made a nice catch all the way through. The running backs came to play as well. Jerome Ford had a great day. Who else? I think it was Pierce. I forgot his first name. Pierce and then Robinson. So all these guys were just killing it today. And then Jerome Johnson, the edge, my Lord, he finished every single rep. When I say to you, he finished every single rep, he finished every single rep. He was all over the place. He maybe didn't get to the quarterback every 2 seconds, but he was there, and you saw him being more involved. And even other scouts were saying, like, around us, were like, that guy's a very, very good player. So yeah, that's pretty much the summary of it. But there was guys that stepped up that I didn't think would step up, especially at the wide receiver position. That was kind of a toss-up for me because I feel like Dotson was the spotlight of the Senior Bowl, and he's just not coming. So a lot of these younger guys got opportunities that were not like low level. I mean, Bo Melton, also from Rutgers, New Jersey. He's fast as hell, but he's dropped a couple passes, but he made some pretty good catches, and he was running good routes. So I think the wide receivers that are at Senior Bowl right now are all solid. I think they have a good chance of like getting drafted and not going undrafted.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this is really exciting. Matt, do you want to tell Ali who you're most excited about at the Senior Bowl minus the tight ends?
Yeah, so literally like 5 seconds before you got on, I said Jermaine Johnson was someone that I was looking at. And a lot of people, I feel like, have him mocked to the Jets at 35, but I'm not even sold that he's going to be there. I think he might be a first-round player, especially after this week.
No, yeah, I think a lot of these guys, even today, probably boosted up their draft value. If Trey McBride, like if all you guys want Trey McBride on your football team, that 10th pick, we might have to trade back because I think he's not going to last. I think he's not going to last until the second round.
Interesting. There's a few guys. How did Kolar look? Because Charlie Kolar is someone that I've been like pretty interested about, and I'm just interested in how he's doing out there in Mobile.
I mean, it was the first day of practice, but I didn't really see many flashes from him today.
Oh, disappointing. I'm hoping like if we wind up going with like the discount tight end in addition to like say like a Schultz signing, Kolar in like a later round, or maybe Ruckert, or if you want to do McBride and Kolar and Schultz and Ruckert, something along those lines. Matt, I know you got to get out of here. Any last words for our panel?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I love doing this every week. I can't wait to continue to go. I'm going to watch back the second half of this show because I need to get the full scoop from Ali. But Ali, have fun down there. Chat, thanks for hanging out as always. And Ryan, I'll see you next week.
Sounds good, dude. Thanks so much for hanging out.
See you, man.
See ya.
All right. This is exciting. We're going to have Green Bean in here in hopefully a little bit. He was saying he was helping someone with some car difficulty. So this is a good dude. Green Bean's a good man. Was there someone you were particularly looking at, Ali, to
today?
Is there someone that really, really jumped off the page of you? Who are you most excited about?
It's the obvious answer, though. It's Trey McBride. Yeah, I think the Jets want him.
Yeah, I
really do. I have a feeling that they want him, but they know that they're gonna have to move around if they want him. Because I really do think he'll have a good Senior Bowl like game, and his draft stock is gonna be where I think he's the only tight end that can probably go in the first round, and he probably will be in the 20 range, late 20s. To get drafted, but the Jets are gonna have to move down or up somehow to get Trey because I think I do like Jeremy Ruckert a lot. I think he fits the scheme. He's from Long Island. He's a Jets fan. It's a good story, and he looked pretty good out there. But McBride, you can't really pass up on if you can somehow get him because he's just that dominant of a player, and I think that's what the Jets need. They can't lowball him. Because he is a talented tight end, blocker. He was, he has good freaking hands. He has good hands of catching the ball and yards after catch. And he was doing pretty much everything yesterday. Today. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a first round talent, and I think the Jets are gonna have to move down or up for him.
Interesting, man. I'd be so frustrated if we traded down from 10 and we had to use a tight end at like 15 or 16. I'd be like, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be a little burnt up about it. I want McBride as bad as anyone, but like I really don't want to spend a first round pick if I have to avoid it. Like I'd probably be, if I had to spend a first on McBride, or do you think Ruckert makes it to the third, or do you think he's playing well enough where he may not? We're at top end of the third, so I think maybe we have.
I think he's gonna be a third. I think he probably will fall to the third, because in the second round there's a lot of other positions that are top needed, and Ruckert, although if we get Ruckert at third, I'll be ecstatic, because he's been playing well, and I think he will fit the system really well. But if you somehow can do 2 tight ends, that's upgrading your offense. That's called upgrading your offense.
Yeah, I think most of us are probably on board with double dipping at tight end in some capacity, whether that be like signing Schultz in free agency plus someone like Ruckert in the draft. If you don't sign Schultz in free agency, maybe you go with like Njoku in free agency plus a McBride in the draft, or a McBride plus a Kolar, or something. Like adding 2 tight ends is a huge need for this offense, and it was probably our weakest offensive position and probably our most important offensive position across the board. So it'll be interesting to see. I really don't want to spend a first on Trey McBride, though. I'd be pretty upset. I think Zion Johnson is an interesting player, the offensive lineman, the guard from Boston College. You and I were talking a little bit off air about how he had stayed later after practice to get some center reps. I think that's interesting. And you had brought up that a lot of the offensive linemen are playing multiple positions. And I think that's something very important for the Jets to notice, because I think they definitely want to go with an edge rusher at 4 if they're available. I think they have a hunch that Thibodeaux's there at 4, and I think they're going to snag him and then look for one of these versatile offensive linemen in the top part of the second round, or at maybe a later point in the draft if they're a little bit later. But I think a lot of it's going to hinge on how they feel about Becton. If they think Becton is 75% sure he's going to be the guy that you drafted at 11, you got Fant playing the other tackle spot. Is that a high enough percentage to roll the dice on a versatile player later in the draft as opposed to using a top 5 pick on one? I think I land in the camp of caution and taking 𝐒𝐿 or Neal at 4. But if Thibodeaux's there, I think it's got to be the pick, I would think. What are your thoughts? Have your thoughts changed at all from the, end of the season to now? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if one of those top guys, as those top edge rushers are already there for the Jets, they most likely will go that way. Mm-hmm. I mean, the only really top pick, top 10 pick that was supposed to be at the Senior Bowl was Devin Lloyd, but he's not even playing. He's not even there. So he was the top gun guy that we thought that, he might be like a top 10 pick, but he's not even there. So I don't think that interrupts how they approach at least the 4th pick. But the rest comes down to if they want to move down from the 10th pick and try to get either a McBride or someone else that they see that they like, especially offensive lineman if they want to look at that, because we know Douglas does like the offensive lineman a lot. So, I think right now that will be the mindset. And I don't know, maybe if someone asks for a big-ass trade to get number 4, depending on who's available, you never know. So you just got to keep a watch on that, especially as how the Jets approach free agency and see what happens there. Mm-hmm. But they're definitely going to draft 2 or 3 guys on their team right now, because it's a talented squad. It is very talented.
Yeah, back in 2019, if I have my years right, the 49ers coached the Senior Bowl, and they drafted 4 players from their roster as well. 3 of them wound up being starters. So I very much expect the Jets not just to draft players that will wind up being starters or playing on the Senior Bowl team, but I think looking at the undrafted free agents after the fact, where they have a rapport with this coaching staff, I think is really critically important. I also love that I think I've heard Middleton is going to be the head coach with LaFleur and Ulbrich stepping back with Saleh to kind of diagnose everything. Love it. Absolutely love that. I think that's absolutely huge.
That's a new thing they enforced. Yeah, that's a new thing that they enforced this year.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good to get more head coaching experience anyway, and just sort of showing what you got. And even internally, God forbid something happens to anyone on our roster, or we're looking for that next guy. Maybe they try to consider doing this in the preseason and just allowing other coaches to get some head coaching experience, because that allows some upward movement, maybe a little bit more. Taps any button, drops him a super chat, says, I'm not paying for Schultz if I'm the GM. Fudge that. If they're going to have like 50+ million in salary cap space, and if I'm looking at all the free agents, I know everyone loves signing. Like, okay, I want to go after Devontae Adams, and I'm going to go after Schultz, and we're going to go after XYZ. Like literally name any popular player, everyone wants to go after him. The realistic area that you got to look at: does the player want to come play in New York, New Jersey? Does it make sense financially to do that? Does the GM think that, like, does it fit his idea? For Douglas paying Schultz, I'm interested to see what he does. It's the top option that I think a lot of us Jet fans have out in free agency, because I don't see Douglas going crazy in the safety market. I would be surprised unless we whiff on like a lot of big name players and like Reed signs somewhere else. Then maybe we go after Marcus Williams. But like, I would be very surprised if we went after anyone major outside of Schultz. And I think Schultz is going to get somewhere in the $12 to $13 million a year range, and I would 100% pay for that. And as I'm talking about Schultz right now, we got our buddy Green Bean jumping
it was my face.
Yeah, look at those guys. So we were just
How are you?
going over stuff.
What's up?
So I want to get your thoughts real quick. So Taps Any Button says, I'm not paying for Schultz if I'm the GM. Fudge that. Green Bean, any thoughts on the tight end position in free agency versus the draft? And then we'll go back to Ali so we can kind of fill you in a little bit on the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I would. First of all, hello, everybody. Sorry that I'm late. Things come up. And you got to do them. So that's what that is. But I would.
The 80-year-old lady on the side of the road, Green Bean. Sorry,
dude.
We were talking about how Green Bean was helping people and everything. And then,
yeah.
Well, you got to go back and watch this stream because no joke, before Ali got in here, there was like a solid 5 to like 10 minutes of like porn talk. It was like, they're like,
oh my gosh,
Green Bean's thoughts on porn. And I'm like, oh, geez, what did I start?
Well, you guys know I was in the adult film industry, as you probably know by now. Yeah, you know that.
I did not
If you Google, well, let me tell you, if you Google Reality Sucks VCA Hustler Films, you will see my movie. And that is the movie where I was Yankee Doodle. I was a character named Yankee Doodle. And there's lots of crazy stuff, man. I was the production manager on set. I did the whole thing. I was in the movie, everything.
What? That's amazing. That's incredible. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And I tried Googling Reality Sucks Yankee Doodle and nothing came up.
Well, not Yankee Doodle. Yeah, you got to say Reality Sucks VCA Hustler Films. I think that'll get you there. Yeah, it's the truth. Oh, you believe that, Ali? What do you think, buddy? I wasn't naked in it. I was a character. That was. Makes you feel better. Okay.
Yeah, that actually makes me feel better too. Oh, good. I needed confirmation.
Okay.
Right. I could have, but I didn't because I told my mother I wouldn't. That's the honest truth. I said I wouldn't, so I didn't. I didn't show my ding-a-ling. But on Schultz.
Oh, see, now I got distracted. I'm having all sorts of fun with it.
Yeah.
It said adult DVD talk reviews. I was like, oh man, can I get a Green Bean review of some green
yeah.
Bean
well, yeah. Well, and look, we can I can get you all kinds of fun stuff. I have some pictures too.
We're good. Okay, let's talk about Schultz.
Yeah. I got a picture for you. I'll show you my character. It's a funny guy. But
I would like to see that.
Yeah. So Schultz, look, I know people don't think that we'll pay for it, but here's the whole thing with Schultz. I think that Douglas knows that he's in his rookie quarterback window, and I think we are going to see a little bit different approach to free agency than we've seen the past couple of years with him. While he's been trying to build through the draft, he's had 2 drafts. He now has a bunch of picks on the top end. What happened, Ryan? What happened?
Yeah, I don't know what just happened.
Tony G in the chat just put bean bagging.
Yeah, that's me. See?
I was listening. I swear I'm being an adult right now.
Oh, look at all the cucumbers that are coming up now. What is
Oh, okay. I'm
Ali,
sorry.
Ali, what happened in here,
What
buddy?
happened?
What happened? What I walk into?
Ali, what's
I
going
came
on?
late. I came late. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what happened.
Man, it's crazy in here.
All right,
I was just hanging out with an 80-year-old lady. Now I'm talking cucumbers with you guys.
Let me rip through some super chats real quick before we get on.
Yeah. Anyway, let me just say this, Ryan, real quick.
Yeah.
I think that if Joe Douglas can get Schultz and pay him 11, 12 million, if he can, I think he will. And then he'll back it up with the draft as well. It's time. It's time to give Zach Wilson weapons and protection and all that stuff. And I think Schultz is the finest tight end on the market, period. And I think if Schultz is willing to come, I think Joe Douglas has no problem paying for him to bring him in.
That would be absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Josh Scott drops in the super chat, says, pull a 2010 Pats, take McBride and Ruckert. I don't mind double dipping at tight end in the draft. I don't think I would go with that because I think you'd have to spend a second and third round pick on those two tight ends specifically. Or like Ali said, maybe a first round pick with McBride. But I would probably look McBride, Kolar, or like free agent plus Ruckert. That's kind of in my mind where I'd like to go. Don't know if that's the direction they end up going. Did I wind up losing all these super chats because I'm rambling about stupid stuff? I definitely did. Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
Did? You got to go into YouTube and get them.
I got to go into YouTube. Specifically, just super chat. All the other super chats are in there. And by
I see Josh Scott. I see Chrono Kenny. Do you want those?
I got Josh Scott.
Got Chrono Kenny?
Well, I just pulled up Chrono Kenny's. I just have it right here. Wham! Okay. All right, Chrono Kenny drops in a super chat, says, what team makes McBride a tight end in the first? I can't see it. So let me pull up Tankathon real quick because I'm just curious who's at the back end of the draft. All right, so teams I could see going after a tight end. Tampa at 27, 100%. They're going to lose Gronkowski. They're going to lose probably Howard. I don't know what Brady's contract status is. Hopefully they'd hang on to him. But I think Tampa Bay is a real legitimate spot for him at 27. Number 24, Dallas. If they wind up losing Schultz, that could be a spot for him. Arizona at 23. If they lose Ertz, could be a spot. Other than that, I mean, maybe Miami at 29 right now with the San Francisco pick.
And they'll lose Gesicki.
That's exactly
most likely.
If they lose Gesicki, then I could see them going with a tight end. Are you guys at all concerned with the height of McBride? Because McBride wound up like going in a little bit shorter. I think he was 6'3¼ or something along those lines. Definitely smaller than I thought, but which is weird because he's listed at 6'4" everywhere, and it's only 7/8 of an inch. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Are you concerned with height at all? Ali, I want to get your opinion first, and then actually let me get Green Bean's opinion, and then I want to hear Ali's opinion on Senior Bowl stuff. So Green Bean,
dude, I know Ali has been watching these guys, dude. You see Ali?
He started ranting, loved it, and then I was like, oh, I got
and then, fucking Ali, dude. I was scrolling through Instagram, checking out Ali's stuff today, man. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm envious, but in the most positive way possible. I'm just like, good for you, dude. I'm so psyched. But yeah, I mean, as far as 7/8 of an inch, like, dude, there are always those guys that people micromanage little details like that, like a 1/4 inch or, a point slow or, 3-cone drills a little slow. And then we make a big deal about it. I think that McBride is a baller. And I think that he comes to play, and I think that he can override any of those little inadequacies. We're not talking about 4 inches. We're not talking about anything like that. We're looking for a reason to take what is, in many respects, a clean prospect, and we're looking for negatives. That's how I see it. I think McBride is going to be a fine tight end in the NFL, and people are going to be lucky to get him if they pick him in the draft, in my opinion.
Ali, I want to hear from you. Phil Greenbean in on all that Senior Bowl news.
Yeah, the growing feeling of Trey McBride is the Jets want him. The Jets coaching staff wants this guy. It's just about if they're going to trade back or trade into the first round to get him. A lot of people believe that he's going to be a first round talent, and he's probably if he has couple of great practices coming up, and then goes crazy in the Senior Bowl, he has a first round ticket, right? Like, I really do feel that. He's a guy that can change your offense completely. He catches the ball well. He yards after catch. He's also a great blocker, and that's literally the definition of a tight end in the NFL. So even in practice, he was killing it today. I feel like every time I looked up, he was making the catch, or Jeremy Ruckert was making the catch, or Jake Ferguson was making the catch. It was a tight end day. It was literally a tight end day, especially for just Salah's team, the Jets team, the national team. It was a tight end day. I feel like all the tight ends were doing really well. Ruckert was more very smooth route running. He was catching the ball in rhythm. And Trey McBride was just doing everything. He was moving around like crazy. He was making those tough catches that he does in college as well. So for the tight end perspective, I like Ruckert just because he's a better fit in a way. But McBride is a guy that like dominates the game. So Ruckert might be a good fit, but McBride is like a guy that you have to risk a top pick for. Ruckert, you can probably get in the third round, right? So
yeah. When I'm looking at McBride, when I started doing my little bit of like Senior Bowl preemptive research, do you think there is a high, or do you think, I think it's more possible that we saw the ceiling of McBride than we have, well, I definitely don't think we saw the ceiling of Ruckert, but I think we have seen, I don't even think we've seen Ruckert's floor really. I think that's what gets me excited about him, where McBride, his senior year this past year, he had 90 receptions, 1,000 yards. Like, it's hard for me to envision like a better season than that. He only had one touchdown, I think, but like mentally, I mean, 1,000 yards for a tight end, that's a ton of yards. I'd be tickled pink. I don't think we've had anyone over 600 yards since like Dustin Keller in like 2010 or 11. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Oh, a whole bunch of stuff. Brian Scantleberry drops in with Super Chat, says, since Denver's trying to go after Rodgers, they need to free up cap and build draft capital. Do you think we could send, or do you think we can get Sutton for a second from them? No, because I think Sutton's going to have to get traded to get Rodgers. I think what's going to happen is Rodgers and Adams go to Denver, Sutton and picks go to the Packers.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think they wind up getting both guys, and I think Devontae winds up taking a cheaper deal than the $30 million that he's asking for on the open market. I think they're doing that so that way he gets tagged, and then it's a matter of a tag and trade. But now you're talking about what do you have to give up to get these guys? Are you giving up 3 firsts, 3 seconds? Like, is that enough to get it done? Or 3 seconds, 3 firsts, and Sutton? I mean, I would give that up if I were the Broncos right now. Like, any team that's going all in on Rodgers should have no problem giving up 3 first-round picks because, you're going to be tail end of the first round for the next 3-4 years anyway. Just go all in. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Ali?
I zoned out.
It's okay. Sorry.
Well, all right. Said never trying to get after Rodgers. No. I really don't think that. I really don't. It's just that simple. They're not going to trade that.
Put it this way. Do you think Rodgers, where do you think Adams goes? Does Adams stay in Green Bay? Does he follow Rodgers to Denver? Does he go elsewhere?
He stays.
All right.
Green Bay will pay him.
Yeah.
Whatever they want.
What do you think, Green Bean?
I think it makes no sense for Green Bay not to franchise him. Like, it does. I can't see a reason why they wouldn't do that. He's asking for $30 million. What is the franchise for wide receivers? Isn't it like just under 20 million or something like that? I could have that wrong.
So it would be his second franchise tag because he got tagged this past year. So it'd be 120% of the contract, which I believe
interesting.
is 18 plus 120. So you're talking like probably 23-ish million at most, I would think.
Well, you know what? I forgot all about the first franchise. I still think that they will. They're going to try they're going to try to get something for him, like a tag and trade at minimum. I don't see them just allowing him to go with the hope that they'll get a compensation pick, however free agency falls for them. But I like the idea of Rodgers and Adams staying together, you know what I mean, as far as them wanting to, but I don't think that they would do that at all costs. So if Adams has the opportunity to make more money somewhere else, I think that he would probably do that. I don't think he's going to take a huge hit to stay with Rodgers, but I do think what you said about Denver trying to scoop them both up and kind of sending Sutton and some change and some other stuff. I mean, you're going to have to send stuff to get that duo over there. But I think they might be crazy enough to try. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I wonder what's like the attractive things you'd want from Denver. Obviously, it's picks for Rodgers to help Love, but are you trying to go after someone like a Drew Lock that could compete with Jordan Love? Then do you want that thrown in as well? Because there might be a little bit of maybe agitation on his part. I don't know where his contract stands, where he's at in terms of like length or anything. It's just interesting. The whole quarterback carousel is fascinating. With Brady retiring right now, leaves a lot of things kind of up in the air that way. And I want to get your thoughts on some other things. So I'm gonna jump from Brian's super chat. We're gonna go over to any taps any button real quick. I do want to mention Mumtaz. Mumtaz says Mumtaz jumped in. Been a first class member for 21 months. He's got 3 months before he winds up getting the Crystal fighter jet. So thanks, Mumtaz. He says,
wow.
Checking top 50 free agents loaded with guards and safeties. So it would be a shame if we don't fill these two positions with quality players before the draft. So also you have to get a number 1 wide receiver from pick number 10. So it would be a shame. Checking top 50 free. Oh, he's talking about top 50 free agents. There's guards and safeties in it. Okay, I see what you're saying. So yeah, Marcus Williams, Justin Reed. I think Jesse Bates goes back to Cincinnati in terms of that. But yeah, if you could go guard and safety in free agency and not have to do it in the draft, the only thing I would say I would be worried about is, or maybe not worried about, but what I would be looking for in a guard if I were to go for it at number 4 is the flexibility to go to tackle. That's the love affair for me at the top of the draft, going with someone that could potentially help us in the event that Becton is not the long-term answer at tackle. But yeah, look, you got to play to your strengths in free agency, fill all those holes so you go best player available in the draft. Green Bean, this is interesting for you, and taps any button. It sort of is with, I guess, Senior Bowl-ish news possibly. But Daniel Jeremiah released his top 50 prospects the other day, and 7 of the top 25 are edge rushers. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah.
Well, dude, well, listen, look, as much as I'm open to this discussion that we've been having, right? Like, we're Jets fans. We always make it a debate somehow. We can't just talk. We have to fight about it. And that's all fine and well and dandy. And I've been around us a long time and I'm cool with it. My family's the same way. But it's like, the truth is, and I've been trying to make this case for the past month or so, and I just did it in my most recent podcast, is that, like, the analogy that I used, Ryan, was that when you're in a pizzeria, or like, think about it like this, you're in a Chinese restaurant and they have all these great menu items, the General Tso, all the shit that you see at Chinese food places.
But dinner tonight, it was fantastic.
But see, that's good, man, right? It's fantastic. But so then they have a cheeseburger too at the Chinese food place. And even though you're kind of in the mood for a cheeseburger, you got to know where you are. You don't buy the cheeseburger because they have it on the menu at the Chinese restaurant. And what I'm saying there is, I understand that people want to protect Zach. I understand that we want to get them weapons. We're all looking at Jamar Chase and all this stuff. Jamar Chase isn't in this draft. There are very good wide receivers, but there's no Jamar Chase in this draft by and large. So everybody is saying that approximately 70%, 7 out of 10 of the top 10 are defense. And they happen to be at places where we have holes. The strength on the offensive side of the ball for the upper tier of the draft happens to be tackle, a place where we have 2 starters under contract. So I'm just saying, I'm trying to make the case that it seems like the strength, the blue chips, the premium assets in this draft at the top where we are happen to be defense, particularly edge rusher. And then you have some cornerbacks and you have safety. We happen to need those positions. In my opinion, we should at least consider grabbing where the blue chips live, go in there. We need them anyway. Get them up top and then push the offense later. You can probably get, you have a decent chance getting a Zion Johnson at pick 35. If he just slips right out of the first, guys like that are going to be there. Lindstrom, a few of the tackles are going to slip through. You can get those guys in the second if you use the strength of the draft, which Daniel Jeremiah is only fortifying what I'm trying to say, the argument that I'm trying to make. So I like it. I like hearing that.
I saw some really good analogies in the chat. I'm trying to find it now because I laughed pretty hard. You don't go to a strip club for a buffet, says Billy McLean. Not that kind of buffet. Sorry. All right. Teddy Craney, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Big Dick super chat, $20. Says, how bad do you think the Jets wide receiver room is? Do we need to draft high? We haven't had great luck with high draft pick wide receivers recently, or just address in free agency. Personally, I think the room, if healthy, is pretty solid. So Teddy, this is a really interesting question, and thank you so much for the super chat. I'll say this, and I want to sort of respond to Green Bean while also going into this question as well. So Green Bean was talking about the strength of the draft being 7 of the top 10 picks being defensive players. Yes. I don't mind drafting for towards the strength of a draft, but I also don't want to overdraft players at positions of need that aren't like vital. I would prefer an offensive lineman because you'll have that guy forever. So if you need to extend him, you can stretch his contract out forever, and basically you'll get him for a long time. Guys like edge rushers, cornerbacks, those elite positions that you get that value on, that's so important, is probably where I'd like to go, even if the draft might be erring towards the side of maybe it's a safety or something along those lines. But there's a lot to go. We got the whole free agency, the Senior Bowl, and all that good stuff.
Sure.
But as far as the wide receiver room goes, Teddy, I don't think the wide receiver room is bad. But you got to remember, we are losing Keelan Cole, Jamison Crowder, and Braxton Berrios is up for a contract. And I have a really bad gut feeling that Braxton Berrios will not be coming back to the New York Jets.
Interesting.
I have a gut feeling about it, and I don't love it. I want Braxton back so bad, but I think what's going to happen is he's worth more on the open market, and I think Douglas is going to stick to his guns about what he wants from his particular wide receiver, his slot, his returner, things of that nature. And I think some of those end arounds may wind up going to Elijah Moore than Braxton Berrios if Moore is healthy. So wide receiver wise, we're up in the air. Mims, I'm not banking on Mims for anything. As far as I'm concerned, I'd trade him away this offseason. I don't know where we stand as a team in the wide receiver room. If you bring back Berrios and you have Berrios, Moore, Davis as your core three, then you maybe bring back Jeff Smith. You have some guys maybe on the practice squad that you want to bring in. I would say there's a few ways that I would like to address the wide receiver position. I don't think there's anyone in free agency that I really like, although Joe Blewett brought up an interesting point last night. Him and I are both very high on Chris Godwin, and now that Brady's retiring, less of a likelihood that Godwin stays in Tampa. He did tear his ACL. I thought he would stay there to play another year with Brady because he's not going to be available to us or to any team until probably October-ish, somewhere around then is when he'd start practicing. And I don't love that because I don't want to see Zach Wilson wind up not being able to have his full complement of receivers the whole time. And I think that bugs me a bit. But if you wanted to say, hey, we're not really planning for 2022, we're planning for 2023, and you wanted to bring Chris Godwin, maybe that's an option. I would like to go that route. In terms of other free agents, I do like Allen Robinson, but only because there's a connection with Salah. I don't feel like he necessarily fits our offense the way I'd like. I'm still pretty strongly on the trade for a proven wide receiver, whether that be someone like Amari Cooper or Calvin Ridley or Michael Thomas. Any one of those three, I would think, is a better choice than any of the free agent wide receivers at this particular point. I think that the upside is higher. In terms of draft wise, I don't need to go receiver at 10. I have no problem not going receiver at 10. I would say whether you go edge or O-line at 4 might dictate what you wind up doing at 10. If you trade down, maybe there's a little more possibility of a wide receiver. But we heard from Joe Douglas that we want trenches, offensive line, defensive line.
Trenches.
So that tells me 4 and 10 in some capacity, or our 2 first-round picks in some capacity, will be offensive line, defensive line. And if I'm listening to Daniel Jeremiah, who was a scout with Joe Douglas in Baltimore for a time, and he says 7 of 25 of the top 25 are edge rushers in this year's draft, I think we're going to try like hell to trade down from 10 into the mid-teens, pick up an edge rusher there, in addition to a 𝐒𝐿 or Neal up at the top of the draft, assuming, one of the top 2 edges don't fall to us. But as far as I would like to trade for a wide receiver. If not, I would prefer to go to the draft. If not that, then maybe you go with Robinson or some of the high upside guys. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on the wide receiver position for the New York Jets?
It's weird, isn't it? It's like last year when we started this season, we were literally calling it the strength of the team, arguably next to the defensive line, right? That's what we were talking about. And just a few months later, it looks as though a bomb went off in the room. You know what I mean? It's like there's nobody, we don't know what's going on with Berrios. More than likely Crowder and Cole are gone. Mims turned into a fucking basket case. I don't know what happened there. I'm like, I love Mims so much. Thought his rookie year showed just enough. Loved his college tape. It's like, what happened to this guy? So really what we're looking at is Corey Davis, who was disappointing at best, and Elijah Moore, who is absolutely fantastic but can't stay healthy. I think he was injured 3 times, maybe, and obviously didn't. He ended the season on IR. So it's like we're in trouble. So I definitely think we need to do some stuff there. Now, whether or not that means using one of our first picks on a wide receiver, I don't know. I think this is good. You're going to see a lot of edge rushers, tackles, linebackers, cornerbacks. You're going to see a lot of that going in the first round. And I think some of the wide receivers are going to slip. I think guys like Garrett Wilson is going to go, probably Drake London, Jamison Williams, even though he got the injury. I don't know how many teams can really pass on him. Especially the better teams. Like once you get to the second half of the first, I think some guys are going to really consider taking him. There are lots of receivers, but I don't know. I think we got some work to do. I'd be a fan of bringing Crowder back, man. I think the guy's fantastic. I think he's been on the worst teams we've ever had. Have we heard one peep from this guy? Never an issue. He's a team player. I don't know why we have to get rid of him. I don't know what it is. But I would be interested. Maybe it'll be like Jordan Jenkins 2 years ago. We all thought he was leaving, and then out of nowhere, $5 million 1-year contract. He's coming back to play with Greg Williams. Maybe that happens with Crowder. I don't know. But I'm concerned about it. Zach Wilson needs to have some guys that he can develop with, not just the rotating door of different wide receiver groups every year. And I'm looking for one of the 4 picks, the top 4 picks, to be a wide receiver. But I would like to see us grab somebody in free agency as well. I'm not the biggest fan of a trade. I don't know. Anybody you're trading for is going to cost millions. They're going to be very expensive and cost a pick. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I think we got work to do, Ryan.
I think Amari Cooper is my most exciting player that I would go after because he's got a 3-year, $20 million a year contract. Woof. Like not a top 5 wide receiver right now. But if I had to pay a receiver that I could cut at any time and has the upside of this guy will probably restructure for more guaranteed money, Cooper's kind of where I'd go. And I think you could get him for less than you would get Thomas and Ridley for. Ali, I want to get your thoughts on wide receiver. What do you think about the position in general? Was there anyone from the Senior Bowl that you think we might try to target? What do you think about wide receiver overall for the New York Jets?
Yeah, first off, for Jamison Crowder purposes, I would not bring him back because I'd rather have Braxton Berrios back. I feel like he's cheaper, and if you want a guy that's developed correctly with Zach Wilson, it's Braxton Berrios. Even Earlier in the year, he was connecting with Braxton Berrios. And then you also have a solid special teams guy in Braxton Berrios, kick returner. So he kind of does both for us. So funny story, actually. So I did an event with Braxton Berrios about 3 weeks ago. And it was a private event with him. And we were discussing with him. We were talking with him. He's a really nice dude. He's a very nice guy. We were talking about, like, why didn't you want to do like a live event? You know, why couldn't you want like fans and stuff like that to come and see you, sign stuff? And he's like, not really, because I don't want to see the fans right now, because if I don't sign with the Jets, they're just wasting their money to see me. So not many athletes do that. Not many athletes. I'm in the business for about 3 years now. Not many people do that. They just go out there. Robbie Anderson, well, he had the event and then left. So, I mean, it's just business. And I think Braxton Berrios knows he's embraced the Jets fans, I think, because the Jets fans embraced him and loved him for it. So with Braxton Berrios, I think he's a team player. I think he finally has chemistry with Zach Wilson, especially at the end of the season. And he's obviously like got snubbed for the Pro Bowl as a kick returner. So, and I don't want the Andre Roberts situation again. If you have a good kick returner, you got to keep him. You know, Brad Boyer was actually today at Senior Bowl walking around by us. And he was talking to one of my pals there, and he was asking all these, like, just a kind of, he seems like a very angry dude, but he's not. And I think he wants to keep Braxton Berrios on this team. And I think all Jeff fans want Braxton Berrios. So hopefully Joe Douglas can get it done, because I think that's a better option than Crowder, because first of all, he's younger. He really doesn't have injury issues in his past. And he just has a connection with Zach Wilson in this offense. So I would keep Zach Wilson. I would keep him for sure, just for Zach Wilson purposes. And then for the market and free agency and the trade value, I don't really want to go after any of the free agent wideouts. I really don't. For trade purposes, I would trade for Calvin Ridley. I think if he's mentally safe and mentally good, it is a big risk. It is a big risk to take that. But if they really want to take a shot, because Joe Douglas, if we don't in playoffs next year, he might be on the hot seat. You know, if we're not in the conversation in December, because the Jets need to start winning some football games. So that type of move would obviously risk his job, but it would also save his job if it works out. So those type of trades, he's gonna have to, even Amari Cooper, he has to look at all those trades to see what can happen, because they need playmakers on this offense. They need one more or two more offensive guys to help Zach Wilson keep getting better and better. And these type of trades, everyone's compared it to Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. When they traded for Diggs, you know, that's when we saw Josh Allen take a huge step after getting a number one wide receiver. Maybe the Jets need to go after a big-time guy or your quarterback so you can develop. He's already a talented guy. He's ready to go week one. You don't have to develop him. You don't have to go through a Denzel Mims situation. He's already proven that he's a playmaker. Now, for the draft purposes of the Senior Bowl, obviously Dotson is not there, which is very unfortunate. I really wanted to see him out there. It was very sad. But there's a couple of players that actually stepped up. Christian Watson from North Dakota State, he was all over the field. He was catching passes. His route running was really good. He has a tough time with jump ball stuff and under pressure as much with the defender rope, so he can't make those tough catches yet. But he's close to. I feel like he would just have it on his fingertips and just drop it. But overall, he was all over the field. Velus Jones Jr., another guy, he's a great route runner. He was busting people's ankles out there. He's very smooth running. He can catch the ball as well. He's a very underrated guy that I've seen. And then with Dotson going out, my guy was Khalil Shakir. He's a guy that I feel like could be a playmaker. He wasn't very involved today. I didn't see many flashy moves from him. That probably will change as we go into the next couple of days. But he is a guy that I think will step up to the plate because he has real talent. He has I did a little bit of film work on him. He has good route running skills, and his speed is just insane. So overall, I think the wide receiver market, they should add at least one or two.
Mumtaz, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Green Bean, while I'm going through Mumtaz's super chat, I'm going to ask you to pull up last week's Talkin Jets stream.
What? I just got here. What is this?
No, we're like 5 minutes from the end of the stream already. It's like weird. This goes like crazy.
All right, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
We'll grab 5 names. Guys, we got Ali from Loyal NY Jet Fans. If you don't follow him on Instagram, Loyal NY Jet Fans, follow him on Instagram. His link to his YouTube channel is down below in the description. He's going to get that back fired up pretty soon. Instagram is his main area of content creation. He's got a bunch of cool clips from the Senior Bowl. I was going through it today. I absolutely encourage you to go over there and give him a follow, give him a sub. Definitely worth your time. He comes on all the time. Ali, I don't know what you're doing next Tuesday. Are you available Tuesday to kind of recap some of the Senior Bowl stuff?
I'll make it. I'll make time for you.
Putting him on the spot.
Yeah.
We got him.
I'll make time. I'll make time for you.
See? Oh, he'll make time for us. I love it.
Well, and Ali will be on the Thursday Thick of It this week as well.
Ooh, I did hear about that. Yeah, guys, if you want to check out more from Ali, more of his Senior Bowl updates, Green Bean does his Thursday Thick of It, and he will be on there as well. Now, Green Bean, is the third when I'm on with you too, or am I the week after?
Well, we'll talk about it. I messed up. You want to be on a Monday because of your show and everything, and I mixed up the dates. We'll talk right after this. We'll get it done.
Okay.
I wanted to talk to you. Yeah, I confused it.
And then I'll be somewhere else at some point. Right. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. He says Kuiper's mock only has cornerbacks and defensive ends in the second half of the first round, also in the beginning too. So from my point of view, we can get one of each with pick 25 and 38 for sure. We won't get Burks or London in the second round. We need a number one for sure. So I think depending on, I think what happens is the Jets will try like hell to trade for a wide receiver before the draft. Could be day of the draft. Could be that kind of situation as well. If that's not done by pick 10 or in the trading of pick 10 down to like the Saints where we get Michael Thomas or whatever, however you wind up working it out.
Ugh.
If that were not to happen, I do think the Jets wind up making the selection of a wide receiver early. Now, if you go with someone like Allen Robinson in free agency, then I think that probably pushes it down to a second round need, which I'm totally fine with. I don't mind. I don't think you need a bona fide number one wide receiver. I think if you have a lot of solid guys, I think that's good. I think Elijah Moore creates enough headaches, and I think bringing in someone like a Robinson or insert second round wide receiver is in addition to a tight end, I think is enough headaches for a defense to worry about. But I would say I would look much stronger at Burks and London at 10 if we don't address free agency via trade or draft prior to that. Ali, what are your thoughts on the wide receiver position?
Yeah. For the wide receiver position, I feel like it's the same thing over and over. It's just they need to go out and get some guys. I do want Elijah Moore in the slot position. I think I do like him in the end rounds and whatever, and like the fun things, but I think he needs to just stay in the slot. I think he'll be more effective for our team in the slot because he's good after yards after catch. We saw that all year. So I think he would be solid at that, just being strictly in the slot. I don't know if he will be that Debo. I thought he was going to be the Debo for us. I don't know if it will be. I think maybe get someone in the draft that maybe fits those characteristics. But I think he'll be more effective just staying in the slot. I do like Corey Davis. I really do. I think when he comes back, I think he'll have a good year. I really do. If he stays healthy, I like the Corey Davis pick a lot when we picked him up. I want to bring back 𝐒𝐿 Cole. I really do. I like 𝐒𝐿 Cole a lot. I think he didn't when he got the chances, he was making the most of it out of it. But then the injuries happened and people were double teaming him, and he just wasn't not a number one. and that's why he was unsuccessful with us and dropped a lot of passes. He wasn't open ever. So stuff like that. But I like 𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐞. I like that pick, that signing from the beginning. So again, I think the Jets just need to add 1 or 2 wide receivers, whether it's through a trade, whether it's through a free agency, whether it's through the draft. I think the draft, they need to grab at least one, even if it's late round, just grab one. But they definitely need to add to help Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I was on board with 𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐞. I really liked him coming in. He had one of the highest contested catch rates, along with Corey Davis in the league 2 years ago. I think he's someone that is more of a glue guy, like a guy that can bond a locker room together. I was watching some of the One Jets Drive videos, and you're watching him interact with the whole wide receiver room, and he's a fun guy to have around. When you see him like, hey, helicopter, shut up, unless you're the owner, then never mind. that's fun. I enjoy that type of personality, and I wouldn't be opposed to 𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐞 coming back. I think we gave him 1 year, $5 million, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be interesting to see what winds up happening there, because I do think there's probably a situation where Crowder maybe does not get signed initially because we're trying to go for Berrios, and maybe Berrios asks for the moon and Crowder's good with taking another $5 million deal or something like that. Maybe you go somewhere along those routes. But interesting stuff. Green Bean, your thoughts on the wide receiver position possibly going at number 10, and what do you think about Mumtaz and everything he's got going on right here?
Well, as long as we don't trade, I'm sorry, Ali, I disagree. As long as we don't trade a premium pick for a guy who played 5 games last year while uninjured, mental health is a sticky one, man, and you never know what the deal is. It's too high of an asset. If Calvin Ridley, if we can get him for a conditional kind of a thing and work with him, great. But I don't know if he fits. Amari Cooper freaks me out a little bit too. The money and everything. I'd rather just sign Godwin or Robinson and call it a day. But I agree with the other thing Ali said. He said it's the same thing over and over, right? Like, here we are again. I'd like to fucking finally get a group of guys that are here for more than a year, man, or 2 years. Like, that's what it is for us. We have 2 years of these guys. Kurtz is here for 2 years, then he's gone. And this guy's, I want to have a stable of guys that can stick together for Zach Wilson. So they're telepathic. That's what we see. We see guys that are great. They have their receivers that they develop with, and they don't even have to talk. They can see each other 40 yards away. They know exactly what each other are thinking. That's what I want for Zach Wilson. And I think we got to stop. We have to stop making it hard for this young kid, man. If he's going to succeed, getting some wide receivers that are going to be here for a minute and can help him is going to go a long way to get that done.
Wide receiver is going to be the big topic of conversation, along with tight end. The weapons, this entire offense.
An edge.
I want to mention something for cornerback. We do need cornerbacks. We do. And there's two that stood out.
I called you out in one of my videos. I don't know if you saw it. I should have tagged you in it. But I was like, I know Ali wants a cornerback at the top of the draft. And I was just like a little hot and bothered about it.
Yeah, I mean, I will. It just depends for me. I feel like the stars come out who are drafted early in the rounds. There's developed cornerbacks and safeties that go early and make it in the league. So I was like, the Jets need that desperately, especially if Marcus May walks for the safety position. We don't know. That could be a position that could help this team a lot. But at the Senior Bowl today. Is that your dog?
Sorry, yeah.
At the Senior Bowl today, there's 2 cornerbacks that impressed me too. Joshua Williams, his length and his catching ability was insane today. I feel like he was his hands were always up. He was always turning his head around when the ball is coming, which is really good for the NFL because they call PI every 2 seconds. So he was with his receivers that entire time. And then cornerback Kobe Bryant. He has excellent footwork, and he was with his assignment the entire time through. He was literally clamming them. And obviously some of the receivers were making the catches, but he made it hard for him. These 2 cornerbacks had a pretty solid day. And those two cornerbacks, I want to see if they progress from tomorrow and Thursday and then Saturday and see how it is. I might have a completely different opinion on Green Beans podcast on Thursday if they suck the next 2 days. But
Right.
like as of now, they look solid.
I love that. That's exciting. We're going to have Ali on Green Beans channel on Thursday, and then Ali's coming back on Tuesday to talk about all his recon that he did down in Mobile for us. We're all sorts of excited. And you never know. It's hard to make a judgment after what? We've had one practice, I think, or is it 2 practices now? So 1 practice.
With not full pads.
Not full pads. Yeah, see, guys look better. Guys look different when they're in pads. Who knows? Maybe Rucker looks better than McBride. Maybe Ali changes his point of view on Thursday. Just don't know. Just don't know. All right, Green Bean. We're towards the end of our stream. Talk to me.
All right.
Who we got? Give me 5 names.
All right, here we go. I'm going from the top. We got Kobe Joseph. K-O-B-I-E. Kobe Joseph.
Ooh, like, is that like the beef? Is that Kobe beef like that?
Yes, it might be. Kobe.
Maybe it's not. I don't know. Okay.
Maybe that's what he does. Kelly McTavish.
Ooh.
And Kelly says 4 beauties on the panel last week, so I'll take that. That was nice. Kelly McTavish.
Compliments, right? Like, see that I'm not saying I'm fishing for compliments, but Kelly does it.
But
right.
they're still nice. They're still nice to get them.
See?
Right. Next we have Oreo.
Ooh, I like it. Oreo's a good dude. He's always commenting.
Right. Justin Aarons, A-R-O-N-S. Aarons.
Justin Aarons. Got it. Okay.
And then Ed Vargas.
Ed Vargas. I love it. All right. Boys and girls. Ali, I think you've been on with us while we did some odds and evens before, right? All right, here we go. So we're going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 6. All right, we're crossing off the evens. Oh no. There's some names on here that I don't necessarily hope for one or the other, but when I see a name that makes me chuckle, I look for it and unfortunately got crossed off. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Odds. All right. Gone. No. And there were 3. We're down to Sergeant Mike, AC, and Milk's favorite cookie. 3, 2, 1. Well, okay, so that's 10, 12. Chat, give me a number. We're at an even right now. Let's see what happens. If we get an odd, we got to do it again. Or no, if we get an even, we got to do it again. What did we just have? We had 12 total?
Yeah, 12.
Plus a 7, it's a 19. All right, so odds get scratched off. Milk's favorite cookie. I'm so sorry. Gonna be AC. You are today's t-shirt giveaway winner. Reach out to me on one of my social media platforms. I'll get you a Wall Street Wilson shirt. Let me just get your information. Make sure you hit me up. All right, boys and girls, we have reached the end of our panel. I want to go around and give our closing thoughts. Green Bean, any last words for our panel?
Yeah, man, I'm glad I was able to make it. I'm sorry I was late. Sometimes you got to do the right thing out there. And this poor old lady, my heart hurts. But I'm glad that I was able to come and spend some time. I'm glad to see Ali. As we mentioned earlier, Thursday, thick of it, 8 p.m. on Thursday on Green Bean Jets Fan YouTube. Ali will be with us talking about all the stuff that he's learning in the Senior Bowl. We're gonna be bothering him, man. I'm not going to stop the whole time he's on. We're excited for Ali, and we get to have him on. And the podcast is up right now. Go check it out. Green Bean Jets Fan.
Ali, brother, thank you so much for coming in from Mobile, Alabama. Let us know what you got going on.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome. I'm a little tired, but I made it through the show. But yeah, it's been long days, like 12-hour days that I have to do. So, I mean, I'm grinding it out. It's fun. It's once in a lifetime opportunity for me. It just came out of nowhere. I'm glad to be here. I'm reporting on Twitter and then Instagram. Tomorrow is going to be a lot more stuff. There's a lot more things that I'm not allowed to say right now until we are there. So you can just follow my social media as Loyal NY Jet Fans on Instagram and Twitter. There's a couple of stuff that are going to be going up tomorrow. So a couple of good content stuff. I'll have videos and stuff tomorrow. I just forgot my tripod today, which is very sad. So I can make videos, but hopefully I don't forget it tomorrow. But yeah, that's it. And I'll have a lot of content throughout the week.
Oh, I'm so excited. I get so excited when I'm looking over at loyal NY Jet fans. I'm seeing all the little video posts. I'm like, oh, Ali's having fun. And I'm stuck at the airport. What am I supposed to do? It's just fantastic. Just fantastic. Make sure you head over to loyal NY Jet fans. Sub them up. Give them a follow on Twitter and Instagram. Definitely worth it. It's where I get all my information on the need to know right now social media apps. Ali, thank you so much for coming in. Green Bean, thank you so much for hanging out with us. As always, boys and girls, thank you so much for hanging out in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. My name is Ryan. This has been Jets Talk, Talkin Jets, signing off. J-E-T-A.